We signed an agreement for 1 million ounce of gold, which is about $4.5 billion worth of gold. And that is arranged in such a way that we can tokenize that gold as the demand through the tokens is expressed.
All right, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Andrew Cavaghan. He is the CEO of Blue Gold Ltd. And Andrew, it's good to see you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good. Excited to learn a bit more about the company. You're a very interesting company. You sort of operate in two different parts, and we'll get into that in whole in a couple of minutes. But for those not familiar, maybe give us a bit of background on the company.
Okay, so Blue Gold we're essentially a gold business, so focused on all aspects of the gold value chain, from mining through to trading, through to what we're emerging into now, which is tokenization, and we can talk a bit about that. I can explain more. And then all the way through to spending those tokens in a wallet. So making gold real and useful rather than just being something that either sits in the ground or sits in a vault.
Yeah, let's talk about the tokenization because I think that's a really interesting part of it. Tell me how you sort of made the decision to go down this road and what exactly it means.
Okay, so we've been within the gold space for a while. We listed the company on the Nasdaq in June this year. And right around that time, we were conscious of a lot of the macro moves that were happening both within the gold market, so gold becoming a more the value of gold going up, reflecting the fact that it was playing a bigger role within people's portfolios and within global finance, but also the much more progressive approach to regulation within the US. Now, obviously, having just listed in the US, we were particularly alive to that. And the Genius Act that's gone through, the Clarity Act that was just being drafted at that time, clearly signaled to us that this was an environment, a regulatory environment that was open for business for the tokenization of real world assets. And so given gold's ascendance as an asset class within the financial markets, given that possibility to tokenize is something we thought that we were well positioned to take advantage of. And so we started working with partners that had that technical expertise and ultimately have built our team in that direction to take advantage of that. Because at the moment, the tokenization market is still very much in its infancy. The gold tokenization market in particular has only about $3 billion worth of tokenized gold. And yet in the press and in the media more generally, we're hearing more and more about the value of being able to access gold in a tokenized way. So that's why we're doing it. It's relatively new, but jumping on what we see as being a very strong market movement in that direction.
Yeah, and you recently had news out about a strategic partnership with DL Hudson Dunes to make sure that you have the supply of gold you need to really push this forward. Maybe talk us through who these folks are and where you see this moving in the future.
Right. So DL Hudson Dunes is over 100 years of commodity trading business, London, Singapore, the UAE. So that experience they've got, they bring to us, but specifically on the gold supply side. So we signed an agreement for 1 million ounce of gold, which is about $4.5 billion worth of gold. And that is arranged in such a way that we can tokenize that gold as the demand through the tokens is expressed. So we think the tokenization market for gold is way bigger than it currently sits. I mentioned 3 billion is approximately what's out there at the moment. So with this 4.5, we would be able to overtake and become larger than all of the combined tokenized gold in the market, which is still only a tiny fraction of the total gold in circulation. So it's relying on physical gold being converted into tokenized gold, and DL Hudson gives us the ability to do that.
And good margins with that as well, right?
The margins in gold trading are relatively modest, to be honest. It's a volume game. It's a volume game. We have, though, signed a proprietary trading deal with them separately, which we announced separately from that. enabling us to go upstream, so into the countries where the gold is produced, and then you can get much more attractive margins. It requires a deeper understanding of what's happening to manage the risk, but that's an area we feel we're well placed to take advantage of, given our background and our understanding of the gold production market. So that's an activity that will be kicking off in the next few weeks with DL Hudson.
All right. Look forward to hearing more about that. Very interesting. Let's talk about the other part of the company, and that is, you mentioned the mining part of it. Give everyone an update on where the company's at as far as that's concerned.
Right. So we listed, as I mentioned, in June this year, 2025, on the Nasdaq, and we came to market as the owner of the Bogoso Prestea mine in Ghana, which is a 5.1 million ounce resource, makes it one of the largest resources globally. And that mine has got over 100 years of production history. It's a mine we're very familiar with. Unfortunately, we with the government of Ghana are in a dispute over the title, and we've been working very hard on that dispute to try and resolve it over the last few months. And we remain very hopeful that that will be positively resolved, and we'll be able to get that mine back into operation. We have secured the finance, which we put in escrow, to enable that restart to happen, and that was particularly important for everyone to see that that's there, so they can, they know that as soon as the matter's resolved, we can push ahead with that. So that's an activity that's continuing alongside everything else. And at this time, I'm actually making this call from Ghana, where I'm temporarily based in order to resolve this issue.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know you secured $140 million for that restart, so you're literally ready to go, as they say.
Yeah, but it's not a greenfield project. It's a project that's already had over $500 million invested in the infrastructure, and it was operating before. So it's not a build that's required. It's more of an investment in the sustaining capex and operating costs to get that back into production. In the meantime, we've been keeping the market informed that we've spread the net a bit wider, because we have the mining team in place to look at other mines that we might buy, looking at Latin America and other opportunities in West Africa. And we're seeing a lot of opportunities. As you might imagine, it's an exciting time within the gold production space. So we've been evaluating a number, and who knows, we might even be able to announce something sometime during the course of next year.
All right. Well, we look forward to hearing more about that. So it sounds like, Andrew, just as we wrap up here, it sounds like the next 3-4 months are going to be very pivotal for the company, and then really 2026 sounds like a pretty exciting year.
Yeah, 2026 is a very exciting year for us. We are definitively bringing the tokenized gold to market with our partnership through DL Hudson Dunes, and that in itself is a sustainable business, both economically and in terms of substantiating an attractive value for our shareholders. The mining side will be progressing, and we believe we'll be able to make some very exciting announcements in the new year, and that expands the whole operation substantially beyond just the tokenization. And obviously that was for all of our shareholders, when we came to market, that's the bit that they've been most focused on. But we are increasingly excited about the opportunity in the tokenization, and we don't want people to discount that too much, because we think that's a very exciting growth area, both but for the market in general, but for us as a company as well.
Sounds like it. Well, Andrew, thank you so much. I know you're in Ghana, and I really appreciate your time and making it available for us to have a chat about where you're going. And it sounds like, as I mentioned, it's going to be a pretty interesting 2026. So I really appreciate your time, Andrew. Thank you so much.
Okay, my pleasure. Thank you.
All right, there's Andrew Cavaghan. He's the CEO of Blue Gold Ltd.